Hi there, it's Joseph here, Edge Dynamics, making a video today. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while, so today's the day. It's just kind of a review of the Kramer Zwilling or Kramer by Zwilling glass stones. And the reason I want to make the video is primarily because there are no videos out there concerning these stones and straight razor honing, and in that case I should get some hits hopefully. But yeah, so let's move a few items out the way. So I started off, first of all, it took me about a year before I actually purchased any of these stones, because I was obviously dubious of exactly how they'd work with razors, and there not being any information out there, I had to sort of be my own guinea pig. So I started off by buying the 5k and the 10k, and I was so impressed that I then went back some months later and I bought the 1k and the 400 grits to give me a set. And basically I will go through the stones. So it said that these stones are made by Chaucera, and that's one of the reasons really why I bought them, because my 5k Chaucera, Naniwa Chaucera stone, that broke. It crazed, as they all do, or most of them do, and then it actually snapped. And I love that stone. So something to bear in mind as well with this video is that this is just how I feel about them. You could hate them, it's quite possible, because the reason I'm saying that is because the 5k and the 10k Chaucera were the 10k was my favourite 10k, the 5k was my favourite 5k, and I know others did not agree with the 10k. I know it was quite pricey, but for me it just did an excellent job, and the 5k is like honing on mud, and that was just a pleasure for me. So what I wanted to do was I was close to actually buying another 5k Naniwa Chaucera and go through the crazing process all over again, but then I heard about these stones and how these were made by Chaucera, and how possibly they were the same Naniwa Chaucera stones or professional stones set on glass, and you know, a few rumours like that. So I took a leap of faith and I bought the 5k and the 10k, and I've never looked back. So I'll go through a few of the stones. First of all, these are the stones set on glass. It's 400. So this one, when this one came to me, it did have a raised part here with some kind of glue or something like that, and I lapped it and I used it, and it was really violent. What I could see under the scope, it was just shredding, tearing the metal to pieces. More violent than a DMT 325. But after some months and some lapping and some usage, it's calmed down. I've got a little bit into the stone now, and it's actually smooth. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. It's when you're at grits down at this level, they don't really want to cut into the steel of a razor. The razor tends to sort of roll over it a little bit. So, but it does its job. It's fine. I've got no complaints. I've come from the I was actually doing this type of work, restoration work, on the Shapton glass. I think it's the 500, or is it no, it's a 400, is it? Well, it was a Shapton glass, possibly 400 or 500 grit, and I'll take this one over that definitely. I'd say this one is a lot smoother. It's a little bit thirsty, but I mean, they don't seem as thirsty as when I first got them. And it's not loaded up, it's been lapped. But when you first buy them and you spray them, they're really thirsty. But over time, this could actually possibly be because within the past hour I've lapped it. So maybe, obviously there is water in there. But this one tends to be a little bit thirsty. But obviously there's not that much it can soak up before it stops soaking it up. Just a few sprays and good to go. And then we've got the 1K, and this is the stone that I was really anticipating, because obviously it's the most important stone, isn't it, to do with straight razors and setting a bevel. So you can see it's drinking up a little bit here. And I'd come from I mean, I started off with the Shapton Glass 1K. We're going back years. Then I progressed to the Chisera Naniwa Professional 1K. Then I moved on to the Dubado 1K. Then I moved back to the Shapton Glass after doing my tests. Not too scientific, but enough for me, just under a microscope, and getting the bevel, just bevel set, just barely, and then checking under the scope, seeing how it looked. And the Shapton Glass just edged the green brick, but the difference is probably not really significant, really slight difference, but a difference is a difference. So I moved on back to the Shapton Glass, and when I got this stone, I was actually, I was a little bit scared of putting it up against the Shapton Glass and the green brick, the Naniwa 1K, in case it didn't win, quite frankly, because I've just bought it and I've loved using it, and I honestly couldn't believe it when this came out on top. For me, this beats the Shapton Glass, the 1K. It gives you the finest, straightest edge with just reaching a bevel set. But as I say, not too scientific, but since then I've been on this daily, and we're into this now for months. I'm not sure how many months, could be 5, 6, something like that, and I just love it. And to me, what this stone is, it's a green brick condensed, so it's a little bit harder than the Naniwa Chisera 1K, but it doesn't load up like that stone does. So the green brick, it may not look like it loads up because it basically just stays green, doesn't it? But you can feel it in the feedback that it needs a bit of a lap to get the swarf out of there and get it cutting again, or getting it cut and cutting how you'd like it to cut. This is different. So first of all, you're not going to see if there's any swarf in the stone because of the colour, but even though you can't see it, I'm sure it's not there. And I use this most days, and what I'll do is I just when you put the razor to this stone, this cuts how just how you want. It really grabs hold. It's got lovely feedback, and it's nice and smooth. The way to do this, obviously, this way. That's the easy way to lap. But you can see the slurry, it's like a grey slurry. And I'll just put a razor on it. Just move these boxes just to show you. Oh, don't worry about this razor, it's got all sorts of, needs to be, have the bevel set, but we're just looking like that, and the slurry does turn darker. But it's just a pleasure to use, this is, and obviously it's my most used stone. this one, and I'm really impressed with it, and I'll stick with it. I do worry because the way I use it is that I'll bring up a bit of a slurry, and then I'll work the edge, and then I'll move to water, and that's how I want to finish. Set the bevel is just with water, and I'm always worried about losing a bit of the stone, but so far it seems to be the same thickness, and I'm really happy with it. So next we've got this one, which is the 5K, and this is the nicest synthetic stone I've ever used to date. And funnily enough, before this one, my favourite synthetic stone was the Chaucera 5K, but this is just amazing, honestly. It's a pleasure to use, and the way it works, I think, I'm taking a bit of a guess here, but I think this is a Chaucera 5K, and they've took the polishing compounds out or reduced them. So possibly the polishing compounds were what was causing the crazing. So you can see on the bevel, it's not shiny as it is on the Chaucera 5K, but it gives an outstanding edge, a beautiful finish, nice and straight as you're going to get, honestly. We're talking about the apex, and it's just a pleasure to hone on. It's hard, but it's got feedback. And what I tend to do with this, it doesn't load up, but I love this stone so much that I'll work on it, and I'll go past where I need to go, and I'll just kill the edge and work on it, and kill the edge and work on it, just because I enjoy working on it so much. It's honestly really, really nice, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about this stone. But this is definitely my favourite synthetic stone. Unfortunately, personally, I don't go to a 5K unless I was going to an Escher or a Arkansas or something like that. J-nuts, I just go 1K to the J-nut, so it doesn't get used as much as I'd like, but I do look forward to using this stone more than any other stone. And it's like glass, but it's got feedback, so it's just perfect. Excellent stone. And then finally we've got the 10K, and 10K doesn't drink any water. You see I've been lapping it a bit, but not fully. I can't say too much about the 10K. This is obviously the most expensive of the stones, but what I can say is that I think it is a Chaucera 10K, just like the 5K, without the polishing, or with reduced polishing. So the bevel doesn't go shiny, but I think without the polishing, obviously we're not going to get crazing, so it's got longevity. Something like this, a 10K, the way I hone, I wouldn't do more than 10 laps on this stone, and they're 10 laps, no pressure, really light, and then I'd go on to a finishing stone. Yeah, so obviously I haven't used it that much, but I've used it a few times. I've looked under the microscope, and to me it's a Chaucera 10K minus the polishing. It feels really nice, but you know, I'm doing like 9 laps, 8 laps, and that's about it. So I hope that was informative to anyone who's thinking of possibly buying these Kramer Zwilling glass stones. I'd say definitely. They're a real pleasure to use. They look great, they work great. They're all I'm sticking to. Down in the workshop I've got the Dubardo to use while I'm grinding and checking bevels and stuff. I've retired the other stones, so I'm just sticking with these now. I'm really pleased with them. If you're in Europe, it's a bit difficult to get these. Yeah, you've got to pay for them. You've got to pay tax, import tax, and if you're in America, I know these are quite cheap. I did consider buying these in America and having them sent to me, but I didn't. And yeah, so anyone honing razors, wondering about these, I can't tell you how they work for knives. I'm not going to put a knife to them, but as I say, I have found some excellent knife stones not perform too well on straight razors. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Goodbye.